Уважаемые коллеги,
Colleagues,
сегодня у нас интересная совместная.
today we've got a very interesting joint session meeting of the Commission on Modernization and Trustees Board of the Skolkovo Foundation. It takes place in a very interesting location. We know that Skolkovo project is one of the most large-scale projects implemented as one of the priorities of the Commission. This is the place where the most modern educational, scientific research methodics should get running and get affixed at the Russian soil. But at the same time, let me emphasize once again for our colleagues and for our distinguished guests that here we're not speaking about, so to say, creating innovation heaven at a separate territory. Sometimes we are getting reproached due to that. They say, you'll do everything like that in Skolkovo, but the rest will remain the same. I said, of course, no. Here we're speaking about creating a good example. And of course, we're speaking about attracting to Russia serious, so to say, strategic investment for large-scale research centers, industrial facilities, based on developments created in Skolkovo and with the participation of Skolkovo, which means that that's the work for our big country. By the way, among the projects that have been adopted, there are more than half of projects which are not Moscow projects, but the regional ones. I've just looked through certain projects which are of regional character. Over the last year, we picked up the city development concept for the future innovation city, although it is being developed right now. Legislative base have been developed, which provides unprecedented for our country legislative privileges for all participants of this project. We've created a system, hope it is an efficient system of expert assessment, which means that we have laid foundation for the investment innovation center. Now it is to be implemented, it should be implemented in the most dynamic way. No regulatory base existing today allow us and personnel use the status of the participant of the project, not waiting till the completion of this project. Some of my colleagues have used this opportunity. They have told me about existing opportunities that they've availed of. And I hope that the number of this project will increase in the future. We should receive specific results even before we, so to say, cut the ribbon. Let me dwell upon certain issues. First of all, the Foundation has signed agreements and memorandums of different level with large foreign corporations, scientific and research, as well as education structures. However, these are so far just protocols of intention. So far, there are no legally binding agreements on cooperation with the participation of our partners. And this work should be seriously revitalized. We should do it also in the context of improving investment climate in the country. At the previous meeting of the Commission, which took place at the end of March, I presented new initiatives on improving the investment climate. Now, the government should be dealing with the implementation of these initiatives. That's the most important task, even against the context of priorities existing for the government, because these projects will not be implemented unless we bring toward the investment climate. A couple of days ago, we've discussed with the government priority measures on implementation of such projects, and I'm waiting for the results. Maybe as an additional idea, we could consider the issue of creating a special court on intellectual rights within the system of Russian arbitration courts, which could be placed in Skolkovo. I think it would be a right thing to do, and probably it would demonstrate a lot. Certain educational projects could be added. I've discussed this idea. That's, so to say, I instruct the administration of the president together with the expert community based on the opinion of the judicial community work on this issue. We should define in the Ministry of Economic Development and appoint people which will be responsible for coordinating international cooperation within the frameworks of implementation of programs of modernization and innovation. There is no sense to cut through windows or doors to Europe or the rest of the world. Actually, these doors are wide open already. It should be recognized. We should not speak that nobody isn't allowed to go anywhere here. What we need is to learn to work properly and efficiently with our partners in uniform technological innovation space. And Skolkovo should play a specific role here. First of all, let me introduce and welcome foreign guests who are present here at the meeting of this commission and the board special Secretary General of the OECD, Mr. Guria.
Second, we have to open more actively the Skolkovo possibilities for the Russian participants, and I would like to emphasize that on all these projects that have gone through the necessary expert evaluation should get the corresponding financing right away, and all the benefits that we have given to the management companies, and especially the residents of the innovation state themselves, should work in full force. Our development institutes, cooperation with the state participation, universities, research, and educational establishments should use the new possibilities in the full scale, the ones that are opened by the Skolkovo initiative. The third issue touches upon the creation of the Technology University of Skolkovo, the scientific activity of which should be based on interdisciplinary researches. It also needs the strategic foreign partners. Consultations are being held. They have been held with MIT and other leading universities of the world. It's obvious that for the future university, the level of its independence will be of great importance on one hand, and on the other hand, involvement in the world educational trends. Also, I would like to say about providing information about the activity of the Innovation Center. I would like to confess that those who are present here have not succeeded. The social surveys have shown that only 40% of our citizens have some idea about Skolkovo, and taking into account the scale of the project, it's not enough. Speaking about its perspectives in the future, here they're very considerable, and such numbers we should not accept as the right for us. Moreover, I would like to emphasize once again that Skolkovo is not a small project. This is a public project that in the end should be the base for the development of our modernization. So our citizens should be fully aware of what's going on and aware of how these projects are financed. Information should be open and public. What is done, what is planned for the future. Of course, it's extremely important to spread this information abroad, where the awareness about the projects is not enough. Even though almost during any meeting that I have with the leaders of the other countries, we talk about this project, and it also provokes considerable interest from our partners. Skolkovo, in the end, should be one of the most recognized and straightforward Russian brands. There are some similar projects abroad. You're very well aware of them. Otherwise, we shouldn't bother with this, as they say sometimes. This would be some extremely popular brand. And of course, the best propaganda of such kind will be information about what we have achieved. Today we will talk about the issues of some changes to the legislation on custom fees, on the equipment important, all the fees to the extra budgetary fund, and other things. And besides in correspondence with the law, we have to define the territorial borders of the innovation city, which is also under the mandate of the Commission.